Melissa Johnson here for episode 91 of Melissa Loves to Talk. Today is June 8th, 2026. Thank you so much for joining me. Getting started a little bit late this evening, so I may cut it short. We'll see where this goes. Since I'm talking about elections, it may not be too involved. I'm going to pretty much just be to the point of what I think about elections and go from there. But there are some primaries tomorrow. Georgia is right now having their runoff. It's early voting. Election day is next Tuesday. But no. Yes, the 14th. So yeah, next Tuesday. So we did have a primary last week in California, and the reason why I said, do you think primaries are rigged or they're fair, is because what's going on in California. And I am going to show you some footage from Benny Johnson's show today that shows some of the sketchy info that he put together, and you can say what you think about it. What I think is sketchy stuff's going on. It sounds a lot like 2020 is going on in California, which we know what happened. Trump was winning overnight. Ballots came out of nowhere. We have no idea where. Georgia stopped counting. There was a water main break. All kinds of things happen. And now we're seeing a whole bunch of ballots being dumped. And none of the ballots are for the Republican. They're all for one Democrat, which again, okay, you may say, okay, well, mostly Democrats mail in ballots, stuff like that. Well, there's two Democrats and only one of them is getting the votes. So you do with that what you feel like you want to do. But first, I'm going to show you the primaries just in case they are where you live so that you make sure that you vote tomorrow, because this is what I will say about the primaries. Yes, there's cheating. Yes, sometimes it's rigged. But if we show up to vote, we do what we did in 2024, right? Too big to rig. If Republicans get out and vote and crazy numbers show up, they can't cheat because they can't come up with enough, especially in states that have fair elections. Now, California, their state is set up for cheating. Okay. To have where you can count votes for days and days and days and days and days, that's not fair. It's okay. You want to do mail-in ballots, they have to be that day. If you get them after election day, they do not count. So that means you need to get if you have 3 months to get your ballots in. If they show up after that, they don't get counted. But they want to do, if they come in by the 7th or the 8th, or then I think it's the 9th because today's the 8th. So if the ballot gets there by the 9th, it's counted. That's 7 days after the election. That's absurd. So to me, sounds like fraud. But again, I'm just going to show you some of the stuff that I've seen. I'm going to show you the elections that are tomorrow, and I'm going to show you what Benny did to find some of the sketchiness. Okay. So the primaries that are tomorrow is Florida, and it says the Florida local elections. So it's probably just county, which is the way that Tennessee did it. They had like county elections last month, and then their primaries for like the federal stuff is next month. So I'm guessing that's the way Florida does it also. And then, like I said, the runoff is Georgia for tomorrow, which is just early voting. So yes, you can come vote, but you don't have to until next Tuesday. And then we have Kansas, which looks like a recall election. So someone must have got recalled. So now they're filling in that spot. Maine, of course, we've heard millions of things about Maine, and that is their actual primary. So they're going to be voting for nationwide, a statewide primary. It says statewide, which I'm assuming that's for the whole primary election for senators and House of Representatives and all that. So there you have, they're the ones that are tomorrow. Next week, I will do the same thing. On Monday, I'll show you the ones that are next week, because there are quite a lot of states that already have had their primaries, but there are some that have not. So as you can see, there are a couple that are not until August. So we'll see that also. So here's Benny Johnson, and this is what he found. I'll probably get dinged on Facebook because I have before for using other people's videos. So we'll see. If I get dinged on Facebook, I am on YouTube and Rumble also. So
in covering or exposing any of it, this is what we're up against. I say all that to say this. Thank you for your support. Because we called this thing. We called this from 1,000 yards away, dude. We went out to LA first week of the year, 6 months ago. Check the timestamp. We went out to LA and we exposed the homeless industrial complex fraud that is being, to their great humiliation, funded by Donald Trump's housing and urban development that gives untold billions to California for their homeless industrial complex. Your money is squandered on this. Your money is used to rig these elections. It's something that we are going.
Which the 16th Amendment says that the federal government does not have to give states federal funding. So when Trump does say he wants to cut off this funding, he can by the 16th Amendment. So I'm hoping that he's going to start cutting this funding off, like the other funding that he's cut off of other things.
Going to go hard in on today.
Welcome to California.
We went out there. We went to Skid Row. We explained how this was going to work. We explained, and it was not a fun shoot because it's filthy and you smell the rotting flesh and you get attacked. Klein knows this. We were filming from our car. Homeless people came up, smashed our window in our car, kicked the side of our vehicle, attacked us for going there with a camera. It was filthy and dangerous and disgusting. And the governor of the state viciously libeled me and attacked my family for going out there. Like Gavin Newsom was taking time.
Which definitely explains that he's uncovering things, or the governor would not have attacked him.
Time out of his day to come after me because I didn't stand in line with NBC News and CNN and everybody else and look the other way and say, where's your evidence? Where's your evidence? The evidence is sitting right in front of your face. Here's what we found when we went out to California. We found a system that registers voters without ID. They'll register voters to anywhere. A stop sign, an underpass, the dumpster behind a Burger King parking lot. It's designed in order to get as many ballots into the system as possible so they can control the outcomes. Homeless people all get registered to vote. George Soros, NGOs, and dark money left-wing groups go and register homeless people. They feed them crack. They feed them drugs. They pay them. This all on camera. We have federal indictments for this behavior. They pay them to register to vote so they can have the ballot in the system. They never deliver the ballot. The homeless person doesn't vote. They just need the ballot. They fill it out. They ballot harvest it. You can drop off as many ballots as you want. No questions asked. You can bring in a garbage bag, and people do, full of ballots. All you need is the name and the address. And what did we find? We found toilets that had 26 people registered to them. Street corners, underpasses, bridges. We exposed it all. And we said, this is how California is going to rig their votes. Not only do they get extra electoral seats because the census is going to count all these homeless people, but they also are able to have as many ballots as they need in the systems in LA because they have so many homeless people in LA. 100,000 homeless people in LA. We called it and we said, this is what they're going to do. And we were right. We got destroyed for this. They attacked us. It turns out that they only attack you when you're over the target. Why would Gavin Newsom take time out of his day to go after my family? To go after me? Why would you? Why? Why would you go ad hominem attacks? YouTuber,
Okay, this says my crew exposed $100 million in California fraud in one day. If you didn't read that.
Dude posts memes. Why would Gavin Newsom take the time to go to? Because we were over the target. And we're the only people who did it. The only people. Nick Shirley also went out to California, did amazing work. Obviously, we love Nick on this program. He's on a lot. James O'Keefe has since gone out. They've both been savagely and viciously attacked by the governor until James O'Keefe showed on camera them paying for the ballots. They paid for the ballot. James got it on camera. I don't have the same undercover camera operation as James does. They got it on camera. But we're the Pied Piper. And these rats, they followed us out there and you could see it.
And you can look up James O'Keefe. This is what he actually does for a living. He exposes people. In case you don't know who he is, you can look him up and you can watch his videos of him exposing all kinds of crazy things that are going on in the country.
You can see it in our documentary. Anyway, we were 6 months early. We showed what they were paying per homeless person. Obviously, there's a huge grift here, but this is exactly what happened to Spencer Pratt. Look at this. Here's the election results. There it is. Nikki Raman's in green. Spencer Pratt's in orange. Now, the law of averages. Let's just talk really quickly here about the math behind all of this. We'll talk about the empirical, observable realities. We'll talk about the mathematical, statistical realities. Law of averages is a frequency of a certain event eventually evens out and aligns with their underlying probability over a period of time. This is a popular everyday principle that is used regularly, especially in statistics. So what you're seeing here on the first day of counting is what the true vote was. This was the true will of the people. This reflected all polling. Nikki Raman got blown out during the debates. She has no support. She had no one. She was paying people to come to her rallies. That was well documented by the LA Times. She had no name. Nobody knew how to pronounce her name. She had an embarrassing track record as a city councilwoman. She was in charge of the homelessness in LA, solving that problem. Well, that's convenient, isn't it? Because the law of averages actually held on day 2 of counting. Here we go. Election night. Then day 2 of counting, June 4th through 3rd. Look at this. It actually held. Nikki Raman actually underperformed. Like Spencer Pratt did great. And so did Karen Bass. So Nikki Raman's actually faltering. That's why Nikki Raman, just so that we understand the time frame that we're at here. This is why Nikki Raman was giving blubbering, crying, sobbing speeches, apologizing to her family and friends for failing so badly. She conceded on election night. Let me say it again. She conceded the race. She said, hey, I'm done. I'm done. I'm done. I'm finished. That's what she said through tears. Then what happens? Oh my, here we go. June 4th through 5th. Suddenly, magically, Nikki Raman starts winning every single late vote dump. Once they realized where they needed to get to with Spencer Pratt, once they had the money, once they had the target, they knew exactly how many of those unaccountable, unnamed, unmarked unsigned for, homeless ballots to dump into the race. That's why the number of ballots that needed to be counted kept increasing exponentially. You know that there's 40% more people voted in this election.
Yeah, but it is pretty cool that Spencer Pratt did get a good amount of votes. If you see, he is getting a good amount of votes all the way up to the 5th or the 6th, whatever it was. Just saying.
Then voted in 2022 in LA. Yet LA has lost millions of residents. How is that possible? You're telling me that Nikki Rahman and Karen Bass just inspired so many people to turn out? They had a 40% increase in turnout? Bull. They had a 40% increase in the machine turning the ballots out. That's what happened. And that's what's happening here. And then you can see with every single dump, Nikki Rahman kept winning. Now suddenly she's beating Karen Bass. Well, that's really interesting because libtards will tell you and they'll tell me, well, what's going on here is that Democrats just like late voting and voting by mail. Okay. Well, that entire, retarded theory is destroyed by the fact that none of these late breaking votes went for Karen Bass. You can see Karen Bass actually getting lower in her percentages of the late breaking votes, while Nikki Rahman skyrocketed. So wait a second, just Nikki Rahman Democrats vote by mail, not Karen Bass Democrats? That don't make no sense. Look at this. Karen Bass' percentage of the late drop versus Nikki Rahman's versus Spencer Pratt's. Oh, okay, just certain types of Democrats. The whole thing makes absolutely no sense. Not statistically, and certainly not empirically.
Okay, that's all I'm going to play of that because I don't want you to have to watch that whole video. I just wanted to point out that this is a big problem for midterms because this was just their local elections, I believe. I don't think it was the actual midterms because I didn't hear anything about senators or House of Representatives. Again, I don't know. Maybe it was because this is such a big deal. They didn't talk about that, but I don't think that would be it. So they must be having another primary later. So there is a Supreme Court case going right now that is going to limit how long they can count mail-in ballots. So hopefully that'll come through within the next couple days even, because then they can get rid of the ballots that they've counted after whatever day they say. I mean, they'll probably give them 2 days, I would think, and say, okay, well, you have 2 days to count your ballots because of you do have a lot of mail-in ballots. So we'll give them, sorry, darn it. Sorry about that. Let's see. Sorry, I didn't know what she did. My cat is crazy. But because they are allowed to do mail-in ballots because of the state, they will probably let them do, I would think, a couple days, which would still have Karen Bass and then Spencer Pratt. I'm really, really rooting for him. He's pretty awesome. And he's not even running as a Republican. He's running as an independent. But he himself lost his house in the fire in the Palisades. His parents lost their house in the fire in the Palisades. And that's why he's running, because he's sick of it. I mean, you saw all the homeless. You see all the homeless. They said it's about 100,000 in LA, just LA. That isn't the whole state. That's a city. So we we just got to be on top of it. Just show up to vote. Like I said, Spencer Pratt got a lot of votes. Oh my gosh. Sorry. He got a lot of votes, which means LA's sick of it. So, nope. Go the other way. She's crazy. But yeah. He got a lot of votes, which means we can do it. we can pull it out. We just got to show up to vote. Republicans don't vote a lot of times in primaries. So we need to get out and we need to vote. They don't usually do this, but they're just both. Sorry about that. But yeah, so that's where I'm at today, is just know if it's that you're supposed to vote, know when your primaries are. If it's not today, look it up and see when it is. I literally just put it in the Google and it just told me when the primaries are. You can also do by your zip code, by your state, when's the primary in Ohio. You know, just Google it, find out when your primary is, get out and vote for every election. So like I said, I know Florida did it, is doing it tomorrow. Tennessee did it. They had like the local election, which was school board. What else was it? It was like 3 things they were voting on, and I can't remember what it is, but it was local stuff, county. And then August they'll have their whole primary, which will be the governor, House of Representatives, Senate, senators, whatever senator's up. Which they may not have a senator up. I'm not sure, because it's only a third of the senators are up for re-election. All the House of Representatives are up for re-election. So if you want to get your candidate out that is your rhino in your district, this is the time, the primaries. Do your research, find out. Hey, we want the conservative person to win, get out and vote for them. This is how primaries work. This is how these people stay in there for so long. There's not term limits. Well, we can make term limits. We can go there and vote them out. That's how we term limit them. So, yes, right now we're struggling. Well, that's because people don't vote in primaries and get these Republicans out. We have lots and lots of rhinos right now that are really hurting us, especially in the Senate. Unfortunately, they're not all up, but some of them are. So you can primary them, which has happened to quite a few people already. We just got to finish them off. Unfortunately, Maine's a bad place right now, because you have what is her name? She's a rhino. I can't think of her name. Susan Collins, I think. And then you have somebody that's a Nazi, literally has a Nazi tattoo running. So at that point, you've got to vote for the rhino, unfortunately, which is a lot of the problems that we're having is because of that, because we don't have people going up against them. We have a lot of that problems too in the Republican Party. Either you have too many people running, which is what happened in Georgia. We had 7 candidates for the same seat, and then you have a runoff, because in Georgia you have to have 50%. Texas had the same problem. They had a whole bunch of people running for seats, and they had to have a runoff. So we got to remember that too, is when there's a whole bunch of people running, who is the better candidate? Get your friends and families out to vote for the better candidate. Don't just say, well, there's 7 people, I'm just going to vote for the incumbent. Now, sometimes the incumbent's good, like Tim Burchett. He's in Knoxville. So hopefully they'll keep him because he's fabulous. Yeah, Brandon Gill, he won 91%. The other Republican only got 9%. So, good job, Texas, who kept the very conservative House of Representatives person. We just have to remember to do that in every election, not just show up to vote for President Trump. Because right now he's not on the ballot, but he is, because we need his policies passed. With the people in there right now, they won't do it. So we've got to get them out and get good people in there, or get such a high majority that they'll just have to vote with us if we can't get them out. Like I said, Susan Collins, can't really get her out. But if there's a high enough majority, she'll have to vote with us. Right now, she knows she can sway the vote because we have 50-50. Well, 53-47. But we don't really have 53 because of the 4 rhinos. So we just got to get a higher majority so that they can't do that. They can't split the vote. Showing up and voting. That's your part that you can do. I get we're frustrated. We're over it. It's not the time to give up. We still have a fighting chance right now. Show up for your primaries. Primary the rhinos. So far, it's been going very well that way. We'll get past that, then we'll look to November. Right now, it's primaries, vote, 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 vote. That's what you're doing. So that's pretty much all I have for you today. Is I just wanted to get on base with everybody to show them if their primaries are coming up, show them what's going on in California, which could be happening in other states also. It's just so crazy noticeable in California. So hopefully they catch it, they nip it in the bud, so we don't have this going on in November. We're hoping for the case that the Supreme Court has. They've been doing great. They've been sticking to the Constitution. They've been fixing things that have been broken. So we're just looking to them to do the mail-in ballots the same way, because they're technically not in the Constitution. They were just made for, COVID. I mean, they had mail-in ballots before then, but most of them were absentee ballots. You have to request them because you're in the military, you're elderly, you're sick, you're going on vacation, things like that. And then COVID just kicked into where everybody gets a mail-in ballot. So don't black pill and say, we don't have a chance. We do. We just have to show up and vote. Get our friends, get our families. That's what we have to do. Primaries matter more than you think. Like I said, people are in Congress for 30, 40 years because people don't primary them. Or they don't show up to general and vote them out. Like the Democrats that shouldn't be in there still. Chuck Schumer, Adam Schiff, these people that have been in there for 30, 40 years. Literally, Nancy just retired finally. She's been in there over 40 years. If we get them out, either primary them or in the general, if we get rid of them, that's their term limit. But we got to show up. So I thank you so much for watching me today. Sorry with the crazy cat situation. Hopefully in a couple weeks, I'll have a better setup where I won't have her being able to do that. But right now, my setup is really not the greatest and very easy for her to access my stuff. and cats, pretty much jump anywhere. So thank you so much. Please like and share. Of course, as always, you can comment, send me a DM, text if you know my phone number, whatever. Hope you have a blessed week. Be safe. Hope your weather's nice. It's really warm here, but it was raining most of the day. So right now it's not raining, but it's pretty muggy. So hopefully your weather is a little bit nicer than mine and you enjoy your week. I will be back Friday evening. And of course, I have no idea what I'll be talking about because that's, 4 days from now. But I hope to see you and I hope you enjoy your week and don't forget to vote if your election is tomorrow. Have a great night. God bless.